Hey folks, I was watching this video I just posted from my brother about Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. You can check that out at Hawk Podcasts. And I was thinking, they got me thinking about the billionaires, and I think about this a lot actually. What is it that prohibits so many of these billionaires from taking large portions of that money and actually doing good with it, doing something that actually could benefit, millions of people. And I think about that because I often see these often men that are like, it seems pretty clear that they have this deep desire to be liked and to be accepted and to be, you know, I mean, if you get down to it, to be loved. And when I think about someone like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or it wouldn't be hard for them to do, a few things to all of a sudden have the admiration and respect of, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, Bezos alone, just his employees, for example, or Zuckerberg, the it just seems so obvious. And I know that some of these guys do good things. Zuckerberg, I think, is invested in hospitals, and I'm sure they all have their philanthropic, endeavors. But it's wild, I just don't I'm really fascinated by the psychology of billionaires and like, does the money come first and then they become this kind of personality, or does the personality come first? But I always dig around and try to learn, what drives them and what's going on in their brains. And I came across this Boston College study. They did a survey of these households with $25 million or more in assets. These aren't billionaires, but wealthy people. So your household has $25 million or more. And I think Bill Gates Foundation kind of funded this. I don't know what they were trying to get at, but they found that most of the respondents did not consider themselves to be financially secure. So you live in a household that has over $25 million and you feel financially insecure. So just let that soak in for a minute. So they were asking these people, why they don't feel secure and all this kind of stuff. But the fascinating thing was they said, well, okay, what do you think you would need in order to feel secure? And the average response was they felt like they would need 25% more money in order to feel secure. And this ranged from, people who had $25 million to people who had, 500 million and up. So it didn't matter how much money they had, how high it went. They always felt like they needed about 25% more. And I thought that was just fascinating, that there's no level where your brain kind of just says, okay, we're good. We have enough. And I'm like thinking about these billionaires and like, I see these stories about Zuckerberg's yacht, being docked up in Seattle, or Bezos has this huge yacht. They all love these yachts. Everyone knows the worst investment you can make is a boat or an RV, but so they build these massive yachts, but it's not enough. So their brain is, clearly in this dilemma of like, this like adaptation that they get into where, okay, I've got this much, but I want more. And there's always somebody with a little bit more, unless you're Elon Musk, and he probably thinks about, I don't know, Saudis or, other people that might have more than him. I'm not sure, but it's just fascinating to me that you can have 25, and I've actually known people who have been in close proximity to extremely wealthy people, well over $25 million. And they've said the same thing. They're like, these people do not feel safe. They don't feel financially secure. And I'm just like, how is that possible, man? Yeah, it's wild. But I do remember, I can apply it to my own life because I remember a time when I was starting out as a photographer and I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to work. And I would tell myself, well, if I can just get to this point where I'm making, $2,000 a month, I'll be good, then I can relax. And it wasn't enough, so I'm guilty of it too. But I do think that if I had $25 million, I would feel pretty financially secure. And, but, easy for me to say, right? What do you guys think?